Hello, thank you for being here. Welcome to my channel. My name is Jenwa Kush. I love challenging myself to new things within my interests. So I was looking for something to challenge myself with, and I decided to learn a new language, among other things. Other things that I wanted to learn were such as skating. I have not yet gotten to that. Why? Because time plus that won't be free. I'll need to pay someone to teach me and to also hire the skate shoes. I want to learn something that is a bit unconventional. Pole dancing, like people look at pole dancing as if it's something wild, but I don't think it is. First of all, it's fitness. Plus, maybe I can monetize it someday. Who knows? This economy. I'd love to learn those. I'd also love to learn first aid. Who I usually have this fear that I will be in a swimming pool and someone will be drowning near me and I won't know how to save them because I am a basic swimmer. I don't trust myself to hold someone's weight in water, especially if they are drowning, because they will just try to clutch onto you. It's chaotic. And what if someone actually drowns and you're there? You could have saved them and then you're not able to. And other than drowning, small accidents that I might need to give someone first aid and I don't even have the basics. Let's say someone is nose bleeding. I'm not sure what I'm supposed to do. I see people telling the person who's bleeding to put their neck up and then placing a wet cloth on their forehead or at the back of their neck, but I'm not sure what that does. I wouldn't want to find myself in such a helpless situation and the guilt that will follow if something actually happened to someone that you would have intervened. It's just that you didn't know how to. So I'd love to learn that. I'm also interested in learning sign language. I think there's a good number of people, of deaf people, who can benefit from people who communicate properly learning sign language. Like, it shouldn't be something so foreign outside of our reality. When I'm buying sweets in town from the roadside sellers on the street, and it feels wrong because you're telling them how, like, why can't we communicate? Why don't I know to sign your language? I think I'd like to learn that. And I would like to learn Spanish. Okay, Spanish was on my list. I decided to start with that. When I was starting, I had told myself that I will do Spanish alongside sign language, but that was a lot. I was spreading myself thin. So I decided to focus on one thing first and then I'll move on to the next one once I've mastered the basics of the first one. The first one being Spanish. So I'm learning Spanish. I've been doing it for about 4 months now. I started learning through YouTube. I will watch videos and then take notes, but I kind of got bored learning on YouTube and I discovered Duolingo, so I created an account and I started learning basics. Duolingo is so easy for anyone looking to learn a new language and you're a complete beginner. It's very easy. Then, in alignment with what I had decided to do, I came across a sponsorship program from ICLR, International Center of Language Resources, I think. I'll find their Instagram page and link it down on the description bar. So they had a sponsorship program for people who wanted to learn foreign languages. They have, I think, basically all the languages that you'd like to learn. So I decided to sign up for Spanish. When I was signing up, I thought it would be free, completely free. It wasn't. They charged $25, which was still fair, because if I was to go into a classroom, I wouldn't have paid any less than maybe 10,000 shillings. So converted, it was around about 3,500, I think. Yeah. So the course was 3 weeks. It was purely online. The materials are already uploaded online. So you just log in and read as you wish within your own time. And they had a 2 weeks extension. After the 2 weeks, I don't even think they took down the materials. They were still there for quite a bit after that. Maybe even now it's still uploaded. It's just that I have not checked. The classes were so good. They were in bits, an hour long, some 15 minutes long, some as short as 3 minutes, but they were subdivided into units. I learned a lot of basics. Obviously, in 3 weeks, you won't learn so much of a new language that you've not interacted with before, but you learn basics that you're able to apply moving forward, so that even if you're interacting with a sentence that is completely in Spanish, you'll identify a few words and you can sort of get an idea what the sentence is saying. So that's where I am at. I took up the course. It was 3 weeks. I completed and I got a certificate. And that felt so good. The little moments of achievement, setting time aside to actually do a whole course and concentrate. It's not easy in this adulting phase where there is so much to do. So post the course, I still continue on Duolingo. When I started on Duolingo, I used to do one session a day because I was totally new, so everything was kind of hard to me. After the 3 weeks course, I was sort of good. Plus, no more, I had more vocabulary and I could tell the flow of the from the flow of the sentence what the sentence is about. So I started doing 5 sessions on Duolingo every day. Okay, not every day. I purpose to do 3 to 4 sessions in a week, which is nice. Now I'm at Sapphire level. There are levels to it. Sometimes when maybe I'm watching a movie or I come across text that is in Spanish, I usually get excited to try and see which words I know from the sentence. Sometimes I don't even have an idea what the sentence is about, because maybe the only words that I can identify are conjunctions, maybe just and then I don't know the rest of the words. The vocabulary to any new language is a lot. It's actually impressive how we learn all these languages, especially as kids. Like that right now, I know 3 languages, which is my mother tongue, Swahili, and English. And it was not even that difficult for me to learn them as compared to right now when I'm trying to learn a language from scratch. But maybe culture immersion also helps, because if you're learning a language around people who speak it, then it's much easier to capture more vocabularies, to get flow of sentences and sentence structure, as opposed to learning outside of the area where the language is spoken. Because right now my only interaction is maybe through movies, or if I purpose to intentionally watch videos that are in Spanish. I've also recently started following an Instagram page that teaches Spanish in bit sizes, like seconds. They post reels which are seconds long, which is nice because if I come across a word today, it might not register in my head today. Maybe even the next 3 times, it still won't register, but a fourth, fifth time, it registers. When I decided to learn a new language, I googled the most popular languages in the world. Obviously, English came up. I know English, at least I can communicate, because even with Spanish, my goal is to communicate, not to exactly be fluent and get all the grammar correct. Mandarin came up, Hindi, and Spanish, then French. Mandarin is like Chinese. It's I think it's difficult because even the text is not in the normal English text. Plus, I'm not exactly interested in that part of the world. Okay, I'm not disinterested, but it didn't click for me. There was Hindi, nah, no, and French. I did a bit of French in class 4. I think everyone did a bit of French in at some point. Akizikuku. At some point in maybe high school or primary. French was interesting back then, but sort of got bored with it. The thing about me is when I start something and then I don't progress much with it, then that sort of gives me a preview of what it is like studying it and or dealing with it. So if I decide to come back to it, it's because I was really interested. If I decide not to come back to it, it's because it wasn't that interesting anyway. And I thought French will be complicated a bit because of the sophistication in pronunciation of words, and like Spanish, pronunciation of words in Spanish is actually really easier than English, because you say words as they are. You even pronounce the R's which are in the middle of a word or at the end. Pronunciation is really interesting. So I think I went for the simpler option because French would have been more beneficial across Africa because it's more widely spoken as compared to Spanish. Spanish is only spoken in one country in Africa, which is Equatorial Guinea, and most destinations don't end up there. What happens there anyway? I'm not sure. But then on the Western countries, Spanish is widely spoken. It's spoken in Central and South America and a bit of Europe. Yeah. So there are more destinations on those sides. I think my influence other than me thinking Spanish is easy, my influence also came from soap operas. They are Mexican and Mexicans speak Spanish. And the few foreign tourists that I've interacted with in Kenya have been Spanish speaking. And it was actually, it was interesting. I like their accent. The challenge with learning a new language outside of the area that it's spoken is it's kind of difficult to practice unless you're really intentional in practicing. Plus, if you're interacting with the people already, you learn vocabularies and you learn words as you go, even without purposing to learn the language. You just find yourself interacting with it anyway. But now that I am outside of that area, I need to be intentional if I want it to stick. Because if I learn right now and then drop it somewhere along the way, then most likely I'll lose the progress that I've made. I am on a certain dating app, and see, people usually register the languages that they are fluent in. I find myself swiping, okay, not necessarily swiping right, but if someone speaks Spanish, I look at their profile more keenly. If I was to introduce myself in Spanish, I would say, Hola, me llamo Jane. Hi, my name is Jane. Or Hola, soy Jane. Hi, I am Jane. I know a bit of greetings. If you want to tell someone good morning, you say buenos dias. If you want to tell someone good afternoon, it's buenas tardes. If you want to tell someone good night, it's buenas noche. And I can count from 1 to 10. I think I'm advancing from 11 to 20. They have not completely stuck. 1 is uno, 2 is dos, 3 is tres, 4 is cuatro, 5 is cinco, 6 is seis, 7 is siete, 8 is ocho, 9 is nueve, and 10 is diez. Kitu kama hiyo. Hi, my name is Jane. Nice to meet you. Hola, me llamo Jane. Mucho gusto. I know a few vocabularies around school. School is escuela, teacher is maestro, professor is profesor, class is clase. What else? Table is mesa. Around restaurants, because when you're logging in to Duolingo, it asks you why you want to study the language. Then I think it will focus more on vocabularies relating to that reason. So I put in travel. So mostly it has been bringing sessions on things, directions, shopping, travel, restaurants. Some vocabularies around restaurants are such as reservation is reserva. What else? Food is comida. Eat is como. For is para. So a reservation for 2 is una reserva. Now I'm not sure if the R is pronounced or it's missing. Let's assume it's missing. Una reserva para dos. A reservation for 2. Or a table for 2. Una mesa para dos. It's interesting. I get excited when I come across text and I can identify, I can translate some words, or even loosely get an idea of what the sentence is about. Matters travel ticket is boleto, suitcase is maleta, train is tren. What else? Hotel is hotel. Some words are really close to English or just the same, but now you pronounce as they are written. I have also learned a bit of family vocabulary. Mother is madre, father is padre, sister is hermana, brother is hermano, son is niño, not niño, hijo, daughter, hija. And then the H is silent because the hijo has a H, but you don't pronounce it. Hola also has an here. Nimekuwa Mkamba. Hola also has a H, but you don't pronounce it. Wakamba wanaweza teseka na hii lugha. Boy is niño, girl niña, and then everything in Spanish has a gender. Like a table has a gender, because if you're saying the table, if the table is feminine, it's supposed to be la. So a table is mesa, so it's la mesa. Let's say you're talking about okay, a boy, it's just direct because a boy is male, masculine. What is masculine? Address is vestido. Let's say you're saying vestido and you want to say address. So if it's masculine, it's un vestido. If you're talking about something that is feminine, then you say una. Let's say, now I'm forgetting all the words that I need for this one. A table is feminine because it's feminine. Okay, that's funny. So you say una mesa, but address is masculine. Why is address masculine? So you say un vestido. If you're saying the dress, then it's el vestido. If you're saying the table, it's la mesa. So there can either be el or la depending on the gender of the object, not the gender of the person, the gender of the object. And if you're saying it can be un or una depending on the gender. That was so confusing at the beginning when I was still on Duolingo because I didn't have the basics. But when I took up the course, we were told that most words ending with AR or A are feminine, and words ending in O or mostly O, they are masculine. So that was a tip, a useful tip, though there are exceptions to it. When I was thinking of recording this vlog about me learning Spanish, it hit me that I don't know what sex is in Spanish. See, those are interesting vocabularies that I should have learned in the beginning. I will check. Let me check and then tell you. It's sexo, not creative. It's interesting to learn vocabularies. The problem comes in forming proper sentences because you might know what everything that is supposed to be in that sentence, like it's vocabulary in Spanish, but not actually structuring the sentence to communicate, not to even be grammatically correct. And then learning tenses, because you can learn to eat is comer, but now if I am saying I eat, it's como, and you eat, it's different. If I'm telling you you eat, it's comes. If I'm telling you that someone else eats, it's come. They eat, it's comen. We eat, it's comer. Comer what? Comer. Comermos. I'm not sure. Like, it has so much variation to it. With English, you don't even think much about it because we've sort of learned on the go, and we also learned when we were younger, when our brains were very fresh. But it's still possible. Like, I am determined. I have set out to learn a new skill every 6 months. Every 6 months, I'll be focusing on something new. The first 6 months of this year, I was focusing on self identity. Okay, I was in a crisis. I was just focusing on bringing myself out of that crisis, and now I am a bit more stable. So this second half, I'm focusing on Spanish. Then first half of next year, I might take up a tourism course. And then the other half, I don't know. I'll figure that out during the first half. I don't plan my future that far ahead. Mostly I just see up to the next 1 year. And then during the last months of that year, I'll have a rough idea of what my next year after that will look like. Tell me about a new language that you are studying or that you've been wanting to learn, or a new language that you've actually gotten good at. If you're looking to start, just start. Learn even 2 words in a day. Imagine those 2 words compound, and as you learn several words, you actually become more interested and you find yourself noticing opportunities that align with whatever you're looking to be good at. Because when I began, I didn't know I will come across ICLR, and now I came across it and I'm actually really invested in this thing. Random words that I know just to flex. Money is dinero, girlfriend is novia, boyfriend is novio, no is saber, understand is comprendo. What else? Shirt is camisa. T-shirt is camiseta. Ice cream is helado. Hungry is hombre. Hambre. Hungry and man are almost the same. I keep confusing. One is hambre, the other one is hombre. I think man is hombre, woman is mujer, so hungry is hambre. Adios, there are some words that are pretty common. I used to hear them a lot. I didn't realize they were Spanish. Maybe I would have guessed, but I wouldn't have been sure that they were Spanish words, such as adios. Adios is goodbye in Spanish. Hola is hello in Spanish. What else? Loca is loca or loco, crazy. Yeah, that's all from me for this one. Thank you for sitting through it. Make a point of learning that new skill or language that you've been wanting to start on. Even the simplest way to begin is something, it counts. Thank you and adios. See you on the next one.